Hello and welcome to another exterior video where I work on my truck. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. And on today's video I'm not working on my truck. I have a friend coming over and we're gonna be working on his truck, on his Nissan Frontier. Matter of fact, last year I already worked on it and we did a 1-inch body lift, but as everything, the modifications, they never stop. We're always trying to improve and change. So this time around he wants to change to a 2-inch body lift, so that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be raising it up to a 2-inch body lift on the Nissan Frontier. Most of it's gonna be about the same as we did last year, with a few exceptions. We have to drain the antifreeze, we have to disconnect some wiring, some hoses and stuff like that to lift it up higher. So let's see how that's gonna all work out. So I still have some time before he comes over, so I'm gonna move my truck over on the grass and get some tools out and get ready for another mud day. So hopefully this video gonna be helpful for you guys as well, in case you guys wanna do a body lift. I already have a video of a 2-inch body lift on my truck, how I did it. I have a 1-inch body lift on the Frontier, and now it's gonna be another 2-inch body lift on the Frontier. Let's see how that's gonna work out. Right guys, and we are back again over here with this Nissan Frontier. So for the most part it's gonna be almost the same as before. So we're gonna drain some antifreeze first, of course. Not a whole lot, just enough for us to disconnect this hose so we can lift it up higher. Alright guys, so here's our 2-inch body lift for this Frontier. All the new hardware and new spacers over here. This time around it's by Fat Bobs. Looks like we got all the hardware this time, unlike when I was doing my body lift. All the bolts are here, they all have threads, but that's a different story. So now we're probably gonna start with the front. We're gonna remove the fender liner so it's just easier for us to work. We gotta disconnect a couple of hoses over here. We gotta disconnect the steering linkage over here, but for the most part it should be pretty easy, straightforward. Just unbolt the cabin first. We're gonna lift up the cabin first, and then we're gonna work on the bed truck. So now first we're gonna remove the fender liners. There is just a few bolts holding it over here, and then there's a clip over here and a clip over there, just plastic clips. We remove those and the whole thing should just come out. Alright, so now that the fender liners are out of the way, we have much more room over here and access to work with. So definitely we're gonna loosen up this steering shaft over here so we can move it up and down. Also we're gonna remove this bolt over here because this is gonna get lifted up. And what I did on my truck, I actually put a 1-inch spacer, plastic spacer from a TV over here with a longer bolt, so that's gonna get secured eventually again. And then just over here we're gonna keep an eye on these brake lines, but because of all of these turns over here, there should be enough flex on them so we can just lift it up without no problem, without disconnecting anything. But just gonna keep an eye on over here and on the other side as well. So I removed this bolt completely over here, so we have slack on this line over here. But in reality, once we do the body lift, we'll see maybe I don't even need to put any spacers, because it looks like there is enough of slack over here, of a play to go up and down. So maybe eventually it's gonna just bolt back in the same location. Now I'm gonna take my breaker bar and loosen up this bolt over here. Alright, so now with the breaker bar, 40mm extension, we should be able to break that nut loose. There you go, no problem. Hopefully it was tight enough before. Alright, so now that it's loose, to give us enough slack over here to move up and down. So now we're gonna drain some antifreeze, not a whole lot of it, just enough for us so we can work over here removing this hose and without making a lot of mess over here. So like I said, we're just gonna drain maybe half a gallon or so, and we'll see if that's gonna be enough. Alright, so we drained some fluid. Now we're gonna disconnect this upper radiator hose over here and over here, and then we can start by unbolting all the bolts on the cabin first. On both sides we're gonna unbolt them. One side we're gonna keep them in, just loosen them up, and then since we're probably gonna start working on this side, so we're gonna remove all of them and start lifting up slowly, little by little, to see that nothing is getting cut up anywhere, that no wires, no lines are getting extra extended. And of course we're gonna replace these pucks for a longer one. Alright, so once one side is all loosened up, we can start working on this side. So we're gonna do the passenger side first with a 21mm and a breaker bar. Very important, don't use the impact gun because that might damage the welded nuts inside, and then you're gonna be in a world of trouble. So with the breaker bar, take them all out. the body is not gonna go anywhere, nothing's gonna move, so you can take them all out and then set up the jack in the middle with a big piece of wood, maybe like 4x4 or something, so you can start lifting up the cabin slowly. So that's what we're gonna do now. Gonna remove them completely. They're pretty long bolts, but the new one's even longer. These washers, the thick washers, are gonna be reused, and yeah, gonna set up the jack and start lifting it up. So as you can see, the new hardware is longer, approximately an inch longer, of course, because it's gonna be inch higher, and comes with a new packs that we're gonna be installing there, and they're actually much bigger and beefier as well. They are hollow on the inside over here, so I would assume we have to put them like so, with the holes facing down. You don't want dirt, debris, water to accumulate in there, so it's gonna be installed like that. So we have our jack with a piece of wood in between over here. So now we're gonna start slowly lifting it up. Keep an eye on everything, make sure that nothing gets overextended, and yeah, let's lift it up. At first, the whole truck and the frame is going to be lifting up because it's going to release the pressure from the suspension, but after that, ideally the cabin should start lifting up by itself. All right, now the frame stopped moving, so now it's going to be the body lifting up. So gonna keep an eye on all the wires, hoses and everything, make sure that nothing is getting stretched out too much. And I already can see the separation from the old packs, at least at the front. Just once in a while come over, check, make sure nothing is getting overextended. So let's see if we can replace this now. So this is the old pack that it was there before, and as you can see, for some reason it actually got sort of deformed. So that's not ideal, but we're replacing it for new ones, which supposedly be 2-inch body lift, but looks even higher. But we need to lift up a lot more. Alright guys, so one side is up. We're already putting the new packs in. Just as always, keep an eye on all the wires, on all the hoses and everything. If anything has to be getting loosened up, just remove it. You can always put it back later. So now carefully remove the old packs. Just watch your fingers, don't get crushed. Put the new one in, and with the new longer bolts, in this case on this side we're using this this big washer. Carefully by hand start threading it in. It might not go because of the angle of the truck, so see if you can put it a little bit in, and then you just lower the truck down a little bit, and then you gonna start making it tighter. All right guys, and this side is almost done. All the packs are in, the new bolts are in, and just hand tighten it for now. So now I can lower this side down. We can leave it loose because then we're gonna work on the other side. You don't want it to be tight, too tight on one side, because then you might have trouble lifting up the other side. So passenger side is done on the cabin. So now we're gonna just repeat the procedure on the driver's side, and then we can start working on the back. So now over here on the driver's side, actually, as we were lifting it up, we had to remove the brake lines from these clamps over here holding it. So in the end, we're just gonna put maybe a zip tie to wrap around here, just to hold it in place. I mean, they're not gonna go anywhere, but just to prevent any extra vibration. Now on this ABS line, also I had to loosen up this zip tie holding it over here, so I can move the wire down over here, lower, to prevent any extra pressure tension on it. And of course this hose over here, I'm gonna put a little spacer, a little longer, so it's somewhat like that. But other than that, the cabin is done, both sides, so now these bolts can be torqued to spec and we can move down to the bed. Alright, so now for this hose over here, to secure it, to leave enough space, I'm gonna use this plastic spacer. This is actually from a TV mount bracket. That's what I use in my truck. They come handy, so I keep them in stock. And with a longer M6 bolt, just gonna screw it in here, so there is not much of a pressure on a hose. Okay, so as you can see, the old hose no longer reaches. I intentionally left it on over here just to see how much shorter it's gonna be, and it's basically like 1 inch shorter. So we're gonna put our new hose in, which is longer. So let's remove the clamps and swap it out. All right, and the old one is out. So now I'm just gonna remove the straps on the new hose with this sock over here and put it in place. All right, so the cabin is done. Now we're moving to the bed of the truck. So I'm gonna remove this bolt. That's for a gas filler, just to be on the safe side. Maybe I have to extend this bracket, maybe not. And then we gotta remove this bolt and this bolt over here in the back. And then there is this bolt over here with a metal bracket, so we probably have to remove this as well. Now, as always, there is no easy job. There is always one bolt or nut that is gonna give you trouble. So this bolt over here somehow got all rusted, and it's a lot of trouble to take it out. So we're just gonna try to cut the top of it so we don't have to go through the old rusted threads over here. So gonna try to cut it and then just back it out. So now we're working on the bed, and we were trying to figure out where we're gonna put the jack to lift up the bed and everything, so we can put our new pucks in. As you can see, we already have them in, and by pure coincidence figured, let me try to lift it up, and sure enough, I was able to just lift it up, hold it, and my friend was able to put the pucks in there, and that's it. That way we didn't have to set up any jacks or anything, because if you don't have anything in the bed, or at least not something heavy, you can just lift it up by hand, no big deal. And that saves a lot of time and trouble trying to set up the jack somewhere in the middle. Just from over here, from the middle, lift it up, and that's it. So now we're gonna align all the bolts, make it tight, and do the same on the other side. Alright, so now as we're working over here in the back, with the new 2-inch body lift kit, they only provide 6 of these packs in total for the back. So what that means, we have one space that we cannot use anything there. So what are we gonna do? From a previous 1-inch body lift kit, we put these two together. So this one actually gonna go in the middle now to support the bed. And now for the back one, there is no way to screw it to anything or to do anything with it. So we're just gonna put this bolt over here with the head sticking in, which is gonna go in that hole. That's basically how the previous one was in there, just with a bolt holding it, and with the weight of the bed, it was just was crimped in there and it didn't go anywhere. So that's what we're gonna try to do now. We're gonna put this one in there, slide this one over, and then secure it with a nut. So once again, guys, whenever you assemble anything, don't rush, take your time, make sure that everything is connected, everything is tight in it, and make sure nothing is loose, nothing is bouncing around. So we already topped off the antifreeze, so this is all good. We checked all the bolts, make sure they're all tight to spec. Everything is connected, tied in, back in place, and there we go, guys. The 2-inch body lift on Nissan Frontier is done. So last year we did 1-inch body lift, but once again, it's never enough. So this year around we did an inch body lift. Who knows, maybe next year we're gonna do a 3-inch body lift. But what a difference it makes. It definitely looks higher. We also lift up the running boards because they are adjustable, so they are 1 inch higher now, and definitely it looks much higher now, much more clearance from the ground. It looks really nice. So there you go, guys. Now we have another video with a 2-inch body lift on Nissan Frontier. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. As always, I'll try to do my best to help you out any way I can. So on this note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you might find it helpful, and as always, until next time, everybody, bye.